Wein-Deko-Freunde, wir sind heute hier bei Allesverloren in der Swartland-Weinregion, einer der ältesten Weinfarmen des Landes. Und bei mir ist Dani Malan, Eigentümer der Farm, der uns jetzt die eine oder andere Frage zu seinem Leben hier beantworten wird. Hi Dani, nice to meet you.
Pleasure meeting you.
Dani, this is one of the eldest wine producing places in the country and one of the big names out in the market, at least on the German side of life. Can you tell us a bit about it?
Yes, I can. We started off, the Malans arrived on the farm in 1872.
But it was the farm was there before. You said
Yes.
something about 16 whatever.
The farm was owned by the Dutch. It was one of the first 6 farms that was given out by the Dutch governor Willem Adriaan van der Stel. And the Dutch owned it since the middle of the mid-1600s. And it was burned down in 1696. And the Dutch renamed the farm Allesverloren, all is lost, because of the burning of the farm and the stealing of the cattle.
Okay, so this is where the name originates, from 1690 whatever.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's old.
And yeah, my family arrived from Wellington or bought the farm in 1872. And I'm generation number 5. My history with Germany started in 74 when we signed an agreement with the Stel and with Stroomberger to export the wines to Germany. And yes, we've always been exporting to Germany, and it's still one of the most important markets for Allesverloren.
Okay, cool. I've been working in the restaurant industry when I was younger, and there's two brands I remember. I was selling 30 years ago almost to our customers, and that was Lima and Allesverloren. So you were one of the brands that was really first to be on the German market.
At that stage it was highly unlikely for South African wine to succeed in Germany because of the sanctions, and it was not the right thing to do. But fortunately enough, there was people in Germany that are wine drinkers, and I know the German public are wine consumers, and they wanted something else to experiment with. Yes, they were interested in South African wines, and Lima and Allesverloren were one of the first that shipped wine to Germany.
Exactly. So the traditional grounds you nowadays make your wine on, what is special about your wines? What is your focus on nowadays?
The focus has not changed a lot. I still believe, as my father before me, that the wine must be a true reflection of the terroir it's produced in. And yes, to be honest, your terroir is the easiest way to make wine. Then there's no excuses for making a bad wine or not so good wine. But yeah, my preference is in red wine. The Swartland is to the hotter side of the climatic conditions in South Africa, which actually benefits the red wines more than they do for the white wines.
Do you do white wines at all?
No, nothing. My friends do very good in white wines, so I get the wines from them. I don't need to make the wines myself.
So you didn't really change that much in the style of your wines over the last 20, 30 years?
The style...
Since you've been going on, because what we didn't say so far is that you're the winemaker as well. You're
yes,
not only the owner.
No, I'm a winemaker as well. Now, it has been a slight change. It's not over-extracted like the old modern world wines, the old South African wines actually, was very over-extracted. I believe that wine is there for consumption, so it must be nice to drink. To me, wine is there for the enjoyment of it. So if you've got an over-extracted wine, then you need to keep it for 5 or 6 years, and a lot can happen to you in person in 5 or 6 years. So I want the wine, if I buy it, to be drinkable, and that's what we make now.
Okay, so your wines are not made for collectors?
They've got a very good aging potential, but due to modern techniques and softer treatment of the wines, we get a wine that's earlier drinkable, but also will last 10, 15 years.
Okay, so this is the aging potential. You would give your wines 10 to 15 years
Yeah.
in general?
In general, there's wines that outlive 10 to 15 years. I've just drank a 75 Tinta Barocca in Sweden, of Allesverloren, and the wine was still very young. But then Sweden is exceptionally cold, so the wine kept a little bit longer there.
Okay. Is there what is your personal favorite amongst the wines you produce?
That's a difficult question. My wines is like my children. There's no favorite one. Everyone is on his own right. A fair bit of Allesverloren. It depends on what I'm eating. The wines that's very close to me is the Cabernet Sauvignon of Allesverloren, because a lot of people said when we started off planting Cabernet Sauvignon in Swaziland, it will never work. It's currently one of the best-selling Cabernets in South Africa, so yes, it worked. And if it wasn't for stubbornness from both my father and from me, Cabernet would not be in the Swaziland, and it's now probably the biggest portion of my plantings.
Okay. How big is your farm? How big is your production?
That's a difficult thing. A lot of compared to Europe, it's big. Compared to South Africa, my fellow people in South Africa, that's not that big. We've got 227 hectares.
Okay.
We produce about 2 million liters in total, and we do about 1.2 million liters in a bottle.
Danny, as I've told you before, we specialized in South African and Portuguese wines. Now there's one thing we need to talk about, and that is port. Because you're one of the very few producers in South Africa that produce a similar product that you can't call port, at least overseas anymore.
No, we call it fine old vintage.
Fine old vintage now. And to tell you the truth, I'm a strong believer in Portuguese port wines, the authentic thing being the top product. Now, you obviously think something else. Give us
I believe that still, without one or two exceptions, the Portuguese port is still the main thing. But we've been making a similar wine for a similar amount of period than most of the Portuguese. The first recorded liquor wine, as the new German law was recorded in 1806 on Allesverloren. So we've got a long.
That's how long you produce it?
Yeah, we've got a long history of making fortified wines, and some of one of the world's top journalists in port came to South Africa not so long ago, and he tasted the 15-year spread of Allesverloren wines, and he said to me that he believed that the port can only be made in Portugal, and second to that is the ports of the fortified wines from America. It's the second best, and then the wines, fortified wines from Australia. And I said, all right, taste my wines. I didn't expect a lot, and over a 15-year period, he scored the least amount of points he scored for Allesverloren wines was the 85 Allesverloren port, which got 92. On average, we got 96. And in his article, he wrote that he now believes that not only is South Africa the second best port producing country, but that Allesverloren is one of the top 3 or 4 port producers in the world. That caught me by surprise. I didn't expect that, and I firmly believe this is only one person's opinion. But I'm not scared to open a bottle of Allesverloren compared to my Portuguese counterparts.
So your message is it's worth trying a bottle?
Of course, yes.
Absolutely.
Of course, yes. Let the public decide for themselves. That's to me. In the end, you read a lot about and you hear a lot about wine and this wine is good, that wine is good, and I've tasted some of the wines that the people say are good, which I don't like. Okay. And then I've tasted wines that they don't like, that I like. And that to me is the beauty of wine. It's a private thing. It's not you like a wine. A lot of people say, if you take German wines, for instance, well, the first time I came into Germany, I was treated to a very special wine tasting by Schlumberger with 13 of the top of world's top Rieslings. And I was pleasantly surprised. The Rieslings that we got at that stage in South Africa was undrinkable. I fell in love with the German Rieslings. Nowadays, a lot of people make it dry, which is also good. But I believe that the semi-sweet or off-dry Rieslings are still not a novelty, but it's a wonderful wine to drink. I'm just scared that the modern consumer will only be allowed to drink dry white Rieslings, which is the sweet ones are really where the Germans are outstanding in making the wines. That's my preference in drinking a Riesling now. And nowadays, if I go see everything, I've got a chance to buy wine, it will 9 out of 10 times be a German Riesling.
Oh, here we go. Like many of your colleagues, and this is why quite a bit of Riesling is being imported to South Africa.
Yes.
Meanwhile,
Yeah.
we can get quite a bit of it here now.
Yes, we can, and it's wonderful.
But we must stop talking about it because we're not selling Rieslings.
Yeah, we're not selling Rieslings, yeah.
No, as we do Portuguese and South African mainly.
But you're in the right place. I also, because of the old history of making fortified wine supports, I am South Africa's biggest producer of dry table wines using Portuguese grapes.
Tinta Barroca.
And Touriga Nacional. And
Touriga as well?
Yes. It's
Where do you have it in? Where do you have it in, Touriga?
We only limited, it was limited to Sweden and my wine shop on the farm for a lot of time, but it's now released all over the world.
So now in the cellar where it all happens, can you tell us a bit about it, Donnie?
Yes, it's a marriage between very old and modern technology. You still see the open tanks that about 60% of the fermentation is still
in open tanks.
In open tanks.
Okay.
The rest are modern, close red wine fermenters. I still believe tradition plays a big role in making wine. Open tanks gives you just you can see how the wine develops. In a closed fermenter, you cannot see.
Can you control temperature in there?
Yes, it's automatically controlled. Modern technology is hidden away through wires and stuff and through the walls.
Okay, so you use the ancient part and add some modern technology
yes.
onto it.
Yes, definitely. I think that's the way forward. It's a lot easier to work with. Your quality control is far better.
It's easier to work with.
Yes.
That's interesting.
It's to me. I grew up that wine should be punched through. So nowadays, the punch system is
it's fully automated nowadays.
Fully automatic, so it's easier. It's a lot easier. I get older and the work gets more, so you don't get fitter. Okay. So you need some modern technology to help you. Yeah, we specialize in red wine, as I mentioned before. That's why the open fermenters is to me, the biggest asset at this stage in the cellar.
Okay, Donnie, this is now the probably most funny part of all. Let's come and see our viewers your impressive barrel cellar.
It's that. This is my.
So what you're saying is this is your barrel cellar.
It's the part of it.
Okay, you know we've seen more impressive cellars than that.
Hopefully.
Okay.
But, yes.
Tell us the story behind it.
My barrel cellar is in Stellenbosch.
Oh, it's not on the farm.
It's not on a farm. It's due to cost effectiveness. There was a building in Stellenbosch that was built to have special conditions in which to keep barrels in wine. And the company that built it couldn't fill it with barrels. So I leased
their space,
instead of building my own one.
Oh, okay, cool. So
which is making it, that's why I can keep Allesverloren wine affordable.
Okay.